Welcome back, everybody. Now for some of the other thoughts I have on driving tests and everything. I also am of the opinion that the DMV, or Department of Motor Vehicles, also need to crack down on some of the younger drivers as well, because some of the younger drivers can be just as bad, if not worse, than some of these older drivers out here. For example, it's raining outside today, and whenever bad weather comes around, it's like some of these people in this area, and I mean, it doesn't matter their age, these people suddenly cannot drive worth two hoots. They all have to all psycho. Like, I mean, it just rained a little bit, I mean, don't like speed and hydroplane and stuff, but I mean, yes, be careful, but don't create a traffic jam because you're being overly zealous on the carefulness. And it's what's worse is they want to poke, and they want to drag butt on getting to and from places, and they sit at red lights after the lights turn green, and then make all kinds of illegal moves on the road. Like, for example, today, I was I was on my way home with Alex, and he and I were coming up on a red light. There was two cars, like there was like three like dividing points at the red light. There was, like, as we were facing it, there was, on our left was, the left-hand turn lane. Then there was the middle lane, which you could go straight or turn left. And then there was the right-hand lane, which you could turn right. Well, there was this big SUV and a nice, fancy, like, Lexus sitting over here with a third white car in the left-hand lane. The SUV, the Lexus, and the Lexus cut over at the red light, and get over in the right-hand lane from being in the left-hand lane. Fortunately, Alex and I were, like, far enough back to where, I could stop in time, and, ease it on up to the light. Well, the white car backs it up, gets behind me, but, after sitting there for, 5-10 minutes, waiting for the SUV and the Lexus to get out of the way. I mean, both Alex and I were looking at each other going, what is wrong with these people today? They're acting so psycho. I mean, it's just goofy. And, like, earlier, as we were heading home, we were sitting at a red light to turn left to go south. Well, the light turned green. The guy sat there for about 30 seconds. I honked at him, and I pointed at the light. I mean, it's not the first time this has happened at this particular red light, mind you. I went like that and pointed at the light, honked and pointed. The guy took off like a scalded cat. Well, I think, and I wouldn't be sure about, I can't say for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if the guy was doing 65 miles an hour in that car, because I mean, he took off, like I said, like a scalded cat, and after he got his act together and made the turn. I mean, and this is the other thing, speaking of accidents and driving tests, I think regardless of the person's age, I don't care if they're 16, 18, 20, 85, if that person gets into a car accident, they should be immediately made to take a drug and alcohol test right there on the spot. Then have their eyes tested to see if they need glasses. And then they need to take the driver's test all over again. The one where you drive the car for the person from the DMV, and not the written one. The written one, you can take that on paper and fool everybody. But you get behind the wheel, it's a whole nother ball of wax. I mean, we're talking, the actual driver's test that you use to get your driver's license with, not like what you would do to get your temps on paper, here in Kentucky. Yeah, I know that sounds very, very harsh, but in light of some of the stuff that I'm seeing around here, like the people, illegally cutting over to get in the slow lane to turn right, or, the person bird dogging at the red light, I'm really beginning to think that that's, what it's going to have to come down to. I mean, there's some people, that, like, when they're teenagers, when they go to get their driver's licenses, they need to really be given some thorough testing. I mean, it's like a 3 or 4 day test. You know, like they, come, and do like some of like the regular stuff, with the person, and that's like day 1 of the test. Day 2 is like, they get on the interstate, go from like streets and everything and go to like the interstate and then come back, see how they handle on there. And then, the person also needs to sign a form that says if they get into an accident within like, say, 6 months to a year or so from them getting their driver's licenses, the teens, depending on whose fault it was, could lose their license. Like if it was their fault because they were drunk, high, or both, and they were like, say, tailgating, this is a cause for them to lose their driver's licenses for good, because, I think they need to crack down and get the drunk and high drivers off of the road for good, just to protect everybody in general, An example of how bad a drunk driver can be is, the guy that caused the Carrolton bus accident back in the 1980s. I mean, granted, that guy only got off with what a few people, including myself, feel was basically a slap on the wrist. What's bad is this guy can no longer drive, and he has to live with himself in the knowledge of what he did back in the 1980s. That he seriously hurt and killed several people. And one good thing that came out of the Carrolton bus accident, as far as like DUI laws go, is that not only the state of Kentucky, the Commonwealth of Kentucky, but like on the federal level, it made the drunk driving, the DUI laws strict. They started making it stricter because of that. I mean, like they had them like kind of loosey-goosey back then, but then like they toughened them up some, and then like in the mid 1990s they toughened them up again, and then recently they've made them like really strict. I mean, and if you get an accident here, or you get a DUI here in Kentucky, I mean, you're going to be put through hell. I mean, just to get your driver's license back. I mean, and this is all thanks to the dude with the Carrolton bus accident. But, because I was the same age as some of those people that got hurt and killed in the Carrolton bus accident, and I've met one of the survivors, like within the past, say, 10 years or so, at a job. And that bus accident made me think about, not drinking and driving, which, is another thing that, people need to think about. I mean, because, seriously, I mean, that's pretty bad stuff. And I've actually known people, how they act. They get drunk and they act stupid, and they think, oh, I'm entitled to drive, and I could drive while under the influence. That is ignorance, in my opinion. You're not entitled to drive because you had, 3 or 4, captains and Coke, or, this or that. You're drunk. You do not need to drive. You need to stay off the roads or get a cab, if you need to get somewhere. And that's, here in America, that's some people's idea of having fun. That's not my idea of having fun. I learned how to safely drink while I was in school in Europe, namely England and somewhat in France. That, you don't just binge drink and go out and act stupid. That's, stupid. It's one thing to have maybe like a beer or, a mixed drink with your supper, and then, maybe a nightcap when you're ready to go to bed in the evening, but it's something entirely different to do what some people here in America do, which is go out, get drunk, party, and act completely stupid, and then go out and drive. I had a boss at a previous job who made fun of me because Alex and I didn't go out and drink and party and, whatever. That's not Alex's idea of fun, and it's not my idea of fun either. I mean, it's just, I have a better opinion of myself, and I know Alex has a better opinion of himself, as far as that goes. I mean, because we have a rule. We either drive and don't drink, or drink and don't drive. We either drive and not drink, or drink and not drive. I mean, it's one or the other. But I mean, it just is, really, really stupid in my opinion, and I just really think that there should be some more stricter laws on that as far as drinking and driving goes, or being high and driving goes. But I'm going to pause here, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.